Just west of Brittany lies a lush reed marshland that's been mixing with the sea for centuries. A magical place, home to thousands of creatures of all kinds, some conceived by nature, others born of local legend. One of these creatures is relatively unknown, yet it has exceptional abilities. It is said that 80,000 years ago, its ancestors, originally from China, conquered the world, one marshland at a time. This is the extraordinary tale of one of them, named Aelia. And there she is. Aelia, as you can see, is a harvest mouse, one of Europe's smallest rodents. She was born 7 months ago and is almost halfway through her life. Her fate seems all but certain here, surrounded by reeds. But series of unexpected events are about to send her on an extraordinary adventure. These are Aelia's last hours in the marsh. It all begins on this beautiful spring morning. Our little mouse is focused on her bulrush seed breakfast. It's easy to be carefree in this peaceful calm. But when you only weigh 6 grams fully grown, the weight of a sugar cube, discretion and vigilance are key to your survival. "20 meters away, a kestrel falcon scans the reeds in search of its next unlucky victim. Luckily, Aelia wasn't targeted by the falcon this time. A harvest mouse only has one option to escape threats of any kind: to flee. Scurrying through this jungle of fine, tangled grass and reeds, often stirred by the winds, is no easy feat. Only harvest mice are capable of pulling that off. Their hands, feet, and even their tail are all prehensile. Their vision and sense of balance are controlled by a brain that's specialized in analyzing complex movements in 3 dimensions. They're master gymnasts. Aelia has taken refuge far from the trees and falcons on the banks of a small canal. Nothing like a few wild oat seeds to calm one's nerves. but suddenly, a member of the human species approaches. The giant moves slowly. Maybe there's nothing to fear. The strange boxes he's placing in the reeds can't be good. Absorbed in her grooming, Alana only notices the giant arriving at the last minute. As a result, she panics. To fully dry her fur, she lays out in the sun. An unusual object catches her eye, and something inside it smells delightful. It's impossible to resist. Alana's destiny just took a vastly different course, all in the name of a snack. After one night inside the trap, the small mouse is released in a strange, transparent enclosure. She's never seen so many harvest mice before. Since it's full of grass, the right side of the enclosure reassures her, but there's not a single seed to eat in sight. A strong odor of food is coming from this glass tunnel. But for a first-timer, the glass tube is terrifying. Harvest mice hate being unable to see where they're going. It takes her 6 tries to work up the courage to pass through. The other side could be seen as hostile territory. It's a huge open space without any vegetation for cover. However, it actually features 2 free, all-you-can-eat buffets, open 24/7. Maybe things won't be so bad for Alana after all. Harvest mice are usually solitary creatures in the wild, but here they reveal an astonishing capacity for social life. Alana quickly gets comfortable, and after a light drink, she begins to explore the little cabins. This one's already occupied. A mother just gave birth and doesn't want any other mice in her space. The real mission of this place is to encourage reproduction. Soon, it will be Alana's turn. But in order to reproduce, first you have to have a mate. Our little mouse is barely in heat, yet she's already the center of attention of all the males around her. The more she tries to avoid them, the more they insist. The male's aggressiveness has no effect. For harvest mice, it's always the female who chooses her mate. Three weeks later, our little mouse is overcome with an urge to isolate herself in one of the cabins. She gives birth to 5 little mice, pink, hairless, and totally blind. For the first 2 weeks after giving birth, Alana dedicates herself fully to her offspring, only leaving to feed herself. Four weeks later, the babies already look more like adult mice. Their main occupation consists in exploring the world outside their cabin. When the giant renews the food supply and adds fresh grass, the baby mice are enthralled by their miniature prairie. Alana tries everything to signal to her offspring that playtime is over, but nothing works. She finally resorts to a stronger approach. In truth, her offspring are already self-sufficient, and in a few days, Alana will leave them to survive on their own. She has no choice. She's ready to give birth again. Female harvest mice are bona fide baby-making machines. They can be impregnated while still nursing, and then give birth to another batch directly after weaning their latest litter. After her arrival in the glass box, there's yet another twist in her adventure: Operation Capture. Alana is part of the convoy. Is this a good or bad thing? She still doesn't know. We are less than 2 kilometers from the ocean and the marshland where Alana was captured. John, the name of the giant, is an avid devotee of harvest mice and nature protection. getting ready to release his protégés in a superb area of tall grass between a wheat field and a hedge of trees. It's an environment that's hard to find these days, as large crop fields are increasingly common and grasslands have all but disappeared. What's worse is most cultivated fields are saturated in herbicides that also eliminate all the wild grass that is essential to harvest mice. As a result, they're slowly disappearing from our countryside. John's breeding efforts are designed to introduce new mice populations in areas where they've recently disappeared. Before releasing his protégés, John prepares a small farewell gift: 5 little shelters filled with rations to ensure their survival. The big moment is finally here. The giant's hands provoke no panic at all. In fact, during their stay at the reproduction center, the mice temporarily lost all fear of humans. No matter, however, for here they will hardly see any other humans. Now it's Alana's turn. The fresh air is almost stunning. Alana takes a moment for one last snack from within the small glass orb. Quickly enough, the smells of the wild grass draw Alana outside. The wild grass seeds are much smaller than those provided by John, but boy, are they tasty. And they're everywhere. They line the path to newfound freedom. Alana sets out for an adventure in the grass and discovers a treasure: an enormous wheat field. The seeds are more difficult to extract from their shell than the wild ones, but once they're out, they're significantly more nutritious. Harvest mice pose absolutely no threat to crops. They stay on the edges of the field, and they only consume a minimal amount of the grains. Farmers never even notice their presence. After 2 months under shelter, Alana rediscovers bad weather. But the mice born in the reproduction center panic. One of them, surely the brightest of the bunch, knew how to keep her fur dry. Despite a growing itch to get outside, the timing is still not right. With the stress of being released and confronting the rain, Alana seems to have forgotten the fact that she's pregnant. Her belly moves and begins to contract in strong waves. She needs to urgently build a nest so she can comfortably give birth. Her technique involves cutting blades of grass to build a woven sphere about 10 centimeters in diameter. But the stems and the blades of wheat are much more fibrous than those of the wild grass. To get the thin, supple strips she needs, she has to gash them with her teeth. Despite her best efforts, her nest construction is taking too long. Inside Alana's belly, her contractions suddenly become pressing. She has no choice but to give birth to her litter in a nest that's only half completed. Three newborns that she immediately grooms with vigor to activate their blood circulation. Exhausted, Alana sleeps for just a few moments. Alana only leaves her nest once or twice a day to feed herself. Three days after giving birth, while she's foraging, the local farmer walks by unannounced. As he passes, his boot ruffles her nest. The young mother hurries back to her youngsters. The baby mice are okay, but Alana immediately springs into emergency action. First, she must build a new nest. The old one is no longer safe. Then she needs to move her litter from the old nest to the new one. Despite the difficult conditions under which they were born, the 3 baby mice are in great shape. Barely a month old, they're already autonomous and stop seeing their mother. "20 meters away, as our mouse gets ready to explore the wheat field. A European viper lurks in the grass. This reptile, which feeds primarily on small mammals, hasn't eaten in 2 weeks. Alana survives thanks to the pure strength of her muscles. It's the middle of the summer. A long period of comfortable warmth and abundant food supply. Unfortunately, a revolution is already underway. As always, Alana roams the field in search of food. But she's quickly distracted by a sound that's much louder and more worrisome than the usual tractor's rumble. A combine harvester is devouring the neighboring field just a few dozen meters away. The ground trembles violently as the machine gets closer. Luckily, and despite their name, harvest mice don't live in cultivated fields. If they did, they'd be harvested along with the grains. The grassland area remains intact. The wheat field has become a desert. But Alana forages for seeds left behind by the combine harvesters. These bundles of straw seem safe enough, and they'd make an excellent spot to hide from birds of prey. But the very next day, the farmer is back. The bundles are not meant to stay in one place. new journey begins. Without knowing what's happening, our mouse is taken aboard a large vehicle. The tractor crosses a vast harvested field. In high summer, Aelia is ejected into the middle of an immense desert expanse. The worst imaginable place for a harvest mouse. Aelia spends the night beneath some sod and heads blindly into her new world. Here, nothing is familiar. She has no bearings. The greatest dangers in the open field are the heat and the complete lack of water. The sun is rising quickly, as is the temperature. Luckily, Aelia finds a place where she can rest in some relative comfort and safety. A small strip of tall grass that borders the road. To survive, Aelia must follow the main road towards a hedge of trees in the distance that dips into a small valley. Her keen sense of smell instinctively leads her in the right direction. In less than 3 hours, Aelia has already traveled 100 meters. Despite their small size, harvest mice are impressive hikers. Suddenly, the grass comes to an end. Aelia searches for shelter. Normally, harvest mice avoid burrows. This time of year, they're rarely empty. But this could be a good way to stay cool and covered until nighttime. Careful. The hole is in fact occupied by this young vole with gray fur that's quite unhappy about hearing an intruder in its quarters. Faced with his rodent cousin that's much larger than she is, Alana figures her best bet is to discreetly leave. Back on the side of the main road, it's now 40 degrees Celsius in the sun and barely any cooler in the shade. Alana is all the more exhausted as she's dying of thirst. At this rate, our mouse won't survive another day out in this desert. Will this be her last night? The pleasure is twofold. First, it's refreshing. And after a few minutes, the drops that form on the shoots finally become big enough to drink. Alana now has enough reserves to survive another day in this enormous field. The next day, she crosses the final 200 meters left to reach the trees. It's a miracle our little mouse survived the deadly desert of the commercial field. Along the edge of the trees, Alana discovers a lush area of high grass, yellowed by the summer sun. There may be other harvest mice here. Usually, these kinds of spots are mowed. But this one belongs to a singular human couple. They live in a trailer and don't mow the grass. Along with reed-filled marshlands, this type of grassy zone is the preferred habitat of the harvest mouse. Harvest mice are indicators of strong biodiversity as they only live in healthy environments. After her time spent with John, Alana isn't afraid to be just a few meters away from the giant humans. The people who live in this mini house actually have a giant garden. But harvest mice have no interest in cultivated plants, except for the occasional pleasure of rubbing against a leek flower. this tiny paradise conceals a curious surprise. The short yet heavy rain showers. This place is marvelous, but there isn't any other harvest mouse around. Alana's instincts will lead her onwards to another location. She first reaches the seaside, a dense, prickly location that's not ideal for her. Alana wisely remains on the edges of the cultivated fields, where there's always a bit of wild grass to eat and hide. Breathtaking landscapes, but still no other harvest mice to be found. In the weeks since she fell off the tractor, Alana has traveled more than 1.5 kilometers. Suddenly, from the middle of the large field, she detects a scent with which she's very familiar, that of a reed marsh. From this moment on, our little mouse has one objective: find the marsh in question. She is certain that other harvest mice will be there too. Her journey finally comes to an end in a small willow forest. Alana's instinct was spot on. A marsh is hidden amongst the trees. After a few days with nothing more than morning dew to hydrate, our mouse is delighted to drink to her heart's content. But danger lurks nearby. It's a grass snake. While the predator is still, Alana remains petrified. But as soon as the snake begins to move again, she instinctively bolts. To harvest mice, coming across a snake is an abomination. Once again, Alana narrowly escapes disaster. She regains her composure among her beloved reeds, without realizing that just 20 meters away, a male harvest mouse has already spotted her. Bursting with enthusiasm, he approaches her. This new companion seems very insistent, so she sets the record straight. Nevertheless, Alana follows the male to the other side of a small stream. This last crossing marks the official end of her incredible journey. Our little mouse has finally returned to her native marshlands. In the 4 months she was gone, the reeds have become very tall, and many of their leaves have since yellowed. If our heroine is lucky, she'll survive the winter before she finishes her short life next spring. Her extraordinary voyage reminds us that harvest mice are an important part of our countryside's nature reserves. On the heels of over 4 months of adventures, Alana is the perfect example of her species' resilience. As small as she is, and as fragile as she may seem, she's a real survivor. That is, unless humans destroy the tall grasslands and dry up all the reed marshlands.